All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to everyone. Thank you for staying on the call tonight. This is 16 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock this evening. Thank you very much for all those who have been standing by, waiting to join us on the conversation tonight. Remember, tonight is going to be a very interesting conversation. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me tonight. This is Corporate Live Show with Mark Aiden, and I am your humble host. We do this every Friday evening where we come live here in the studio at the Corporate Live Studio, and we bring in guests, we discuss important topics that relate to us as professionals and entrepreneurs. And tonight is no exception, as we will go on and on to discuss understanding the impact of increase in dollar rates, how to survive. Yes, how do you survive as a business? Let's hear from you guys. Let us know where you're joining us from tonight. Remember, this is Corporate Live Show. Drop a comment in the comment box. Let's get to know where you are joining us from. Right now, we are live in the studio at the Corporate Live Show, where we talk about matters that really borders on the professionals. And tonight, I'm so excited that we'll be doing this with a very, very important guest. Who will be helping us trash questions that may bother you as a professional, that may bother you as an entrepreneur, especially those that are doing some private practices as professionals, or some of us that are involved in one business or the other, and how dollar changes in dollar rates affect prices of things, and how you can manage and how you can cope with the situation, especially in this part of the world and in Africa at large. So we're going to have this conversation, and with me discussing this conversation tonight is I'm not going to be the only person in the studio, so I'm so glad. And as you join us, please drop a comment and do us a favor. We are live on YouTube too. You can visit us on YouTube right now. It is called Corporate Live with Mark Aiden. Corporate Live with Mark Aiden. And as you join us on YouTube or any other platform where you're joining us right now, please, as you join us, invite your friends to join us in the conversation, because what we're sharing tonight is enlightening. It's going to be enlightening. It's going to be educative. So you don't want your friends to miss out on this conversation tonight. Thank you very much for those who have joined us already. Thank you very much. I can see so many of us have joined already this conversation. Okay, I can see Ifeanyi Ezegwe. Thank you very much, Ifeanyi Ezegwe, for joining us on the show tonight. We're so excited to have you. I've been waiting. Yes, thank you, Ifeanyi, for waiting. And the show is already on, so we will go into the conversation shortly. And for those who are still online and you have not dropped a comment, there's no way I can know right now, because I'm here in the studio and I have limited access to those online, except to drop a comment. That's when I can get to relate with you perfectly well. So my guest is already standing by as we go on into the conversation tonight. Please drop your question, drop whatever comment or whatever opinion you have, and as we go on in the conversation, please feel free to always drop whatever your opinion may be regarding what we are discussing tonight. Remember, this is Corporate Live Show with Mark Aiden. I'm your humble host. My name is Adeniyi Macarthy. That's my name. So you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn or on Facebook or on Instagram and on Twitter. Please reach out to us. And Corporate Live Show is 1 year old today. We are so glad that we're doing this. We've been doing this for 1 year, and for the next 1 year, there'll be a lot of changes coming up. You just watch out. The new year is coming, and we're coming out in a new way. So thank you very much for those that have stayed tuned so far. And I'm going to invite my guest into the studio right now. My guest is a financial analyst, and he talks about financial situations and analyzing situations around finance and the economy at large. So he'll be dealing with all the questions we have for the show tonight. And I bet it with you that the time you'll be spending here on the show will not be a wasted time. And you can do your friend a favor by inviting him or her to join us on the conversation tonight. Remember, this is Corporate Live Show, and tonight we're discussing understanding the impact of increase in dollar rates, how to survive. The goal here is, how do you survive the changes in the demand for dollar and the rate at which the rate of exchange keep changing. And so, how do you survive as a business or as an entrepreneur or as a corporate individual? So that's what my guest Babajide will be discussing with us tonight. Babajide, good afternoon. I mean, good evening to you. How are you tonight?
Hi, good evening. How are you doing? Hope you are fine.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, because of our time, we don't have much time. I just quickly want you to say one or two things about the topic we're discussing tonight. What makes you so confident that you are the right person to be discussing this topic with us tonight? Remember, a lot of professionals are out there waiting, and a lot of them will be watching this video on YouTube and on LinkedIn or on Facebook later on. So tell us a little bit why you should be the one educating us on this matter.
All right. Thank you very much once again. And if I would say, I believe that there are a lot of experts in the market. There are a lot of big guys, a lot of my senior colleagues that I know that they can also do justice to this topic. But at the same time, too, I believe that I do have the competency. Looking at my years of experience in the financial markets, analyzing the old market and the economy as well, and at least by and large, I've spent up to like 2 to 3 years to still learning, but I still feel that to an extent, I can analyze the economy very well and I can give my opinion. Of course, my opinion is not a doesn't have to be finite. It's my opinion. It's what I believe should work for the economy. It's what I believe that Nigeria should be doing. So I feel that I can always drop my 2 cents on anything. Thank you.
Okay, talking about the 2 cent part of the work conversation tonight. Please, audience, as you watch us discuss this matter, as we go back on each of the question, please do us a favor, drop a comment in the comment section. Whatever you feel like, okay, you don't agree with us, or you feel, oh, you can add more to the conversation. The comment section is free for you and is open to all that will be listening to us right now, and we would like you to drop your own comment, and so that you can effectively engage in the conversation tonight. Thank you very much. Let's go on in the discussion tonight. So, Mr. Babatunde, please tell us a little bit. What do you think about the topic tonight? How timely do you think the topic is for us to be discussing it on the show tonight at Corporate Live Show?
All right. So once again, thank you very much, and thanks. I appreciate everyone for joining. This topic is a very very crucial topic, and it's something that everyone is facing. It's something that it's disturbing everybody, and everyone needs an answer to why are we in this situation. Because the truth of the matter is that everyone goes to the market, everyone purchases one goods or the other, and as we all know, and not to sound too technical at the early stage, Nigeria is a country that imports a lot. So, and we know that any changes in the foreign exchange market will definitely affect the prices of goods and commodities in the market. So, making this topic something crucial for everyone, every Nigerian to have an understanding that okay, what is really happening? Why are we here? And most importantly, what is the way out? So I feel it's something important that we all should have this conversation, discuss it, and know our problem as a country, as a nation, and how we can get out of it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Babatunde. Thank you, Babajide. Sorry, pardon me. And one thing you just said now that really hits the point to this conversation is the fact that knowing your problem help you create solutions, point of solutions to those problems. And if you don't know the problem itself, how will you know what solution you are creating? And that's one of the reasons why we're having a conversation tonight. Remember, this is Corporate Life Show. I am Adeniyi Macarthy, and my guest will be dealing with those questions tonight. Please, let's move with the pace of the question. And one of the things he has said is in the question, in his in his introduction, knowing the problem. So, how do we get here? This is not part of the question we have for us today, but I feel we should be discussing how we got here in the first place. How did we get there in the first place?
Okay, so how Nigeria got itself or got herself in foreign exchange mess. Okay, so basically, let me start with this. Or will you allow me to just give a general overview of the whole country of what is happening generally? Like I mean,
Okay,
just to
right,
give some
please. Right.
financials and to make things easier to start with. Okay, so currently in Nigeria, the general inflation rate, the figure for October came out days ago, and the inflation rate currently in Nigeria is 27.33%. And in September, it was 26.72. So that's like about like 100 basis points increase. Okay, so food inflation specifically has jumped to 31.52%. And in
Mhm.
September, it was 30.64. Also NPR has been 18.75. I think that has been since September or thereabout. So NPR is the interest rate, meaning that if you want to borrow money at the bank, what should be the
Mhm.
minimum interest rate that you should be charged? Or alternatively,
Mhm.
let's say you invest, you put your money in a particular investment, what should be the minimum investment that you should expect? So it's 18.74. That's CBN interest rate. Okay,
Mhm.
and also what is the FX gross reserve at the moment? Nigerian FX reserves currently sit at 33.3 billion USD, and with a liquidity of just 32.5 billion USD. And specifically, and also for this conversation, what is the FX rate? What is it like in the market as we speak right now? So currently, at the official market rate, one USD is currently 840. That's as per the CBN official website. So $1 is 840. While at the black market rate, $1 is 1,129. However, let me remind us, before our president, before the new President Tinubu, before he came on board, that was in May. FX was around 400 naira at the official market rate, and about 600 naira, 700 naira at the unofficial market rate. Okay, but since his emergence and during his public speaking on the 29th of May, to be specific, he made a public declaration that the foreign exchange market in Nigeria will be decentralized, meaning that
Mhm.
the CBN will no longer have any power, any control over the foreign exchange market. And with this, leaving the forces of leaving exchange rate in the market to be set by the forces of demand and supply. Okay,
Mhm.
and making us to have an equilibrium based on the forces of demand and supply, and not the CBN, trying to adjust the prices of FX in the market. So this alone led to a significant devaluation in the currency. All right,
Mhm.
but prior to then, how did we get to even 400 naira and about 600 naira at the unofficial market? It's
Mhm.
simple. Whenever people ask me this question, I tell them the reason for the devaluation of naira in Nigeria currently is as a result of the fact that we do not export, we do not have dollars. Like I said, it's basic economics, demand and supply. When there's when there's limited supply and there's high demand, what happens? Prices goes up. That's the thing. A lot of people are chasing dollar, and we only have limited dollar. Definitely, price should go up. It's a basic law of economics, and there's nothing you can do to this, and there's nothing that can be done. So the question is that how can we increase the liquidity and supply of dollars in the market, and which is what we will be discussing today, and all sort of a thing and sort of subjects around all of this. But this is how Nigeria got into this mess. We do not have FX. And why is it that we don't have FX in the country? It's as a result of the fact that there is no oil to export, there are no goods and commodities to export, and also we import a lot. So there's a lot of pressure on the limited dollars that we
Mhm.
have. So aside from corruption, aside from the fact that FX are even provided for a lot of activities that are not really, in my own opinion, that are not really important, or that are not really fundamental, that are not necessity, and that are not basic. So I would say this is how we really got here. Look at back in the years in the 1870s or thereabouts, before we even discovered oil, where we're doing farming. There were a lot of effects in the country, and naira was very strong. Then one naira was equal to $1. So like the dollar was competing with the naira, but ever since there has been a change in power and change in focus since we discovered oil. We neglected farming, we went into oil, and as a result, there's been a lot of shock as well in the oil price. Currently, as I'm speaking to you, Brent crude oil is 78 US dollars per barrel. About
Hmm.
2 months ago, Brent crude oil was about $100. So we can also see the volatility in the oil market. So the volatility is also high, which is one of the things that are affecting the inflow of FX into the country. So not to go too much into details at first. So this is the summary of this is an overview of what is happening in Nigeria and why we are here today. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. I can see a lot of technicality in your comment, and I hope our audience are able to catch up with what you said. But one thing that is very so glaring and so impactful on the economy right now is the rate at which prices of food are going higher and higher every now and then. If you go to the market, supermarket, for instance, and you say you want to buy a loaf of bread today, and I'm sure the price you got it the last time will not be the price you're getting it today. So it's a shocking one. It's a bad one for us. And before now, we used to think that to eat bread means that you are poor, but today to eat bread means that you are rich. I hope with the conversation today, as we go on and on to discuss the matter, I hope we can help ourselves do better and relate better with the new economy. And this is a discussion concerning those that are really doing something in line with to what to better the economy of the country, not depending on, however, a magical event that will what revive the economy, but we want to what have something to do with it, what the changes we expect in the economy, and that's why we're having this conversation tonight. Remember, this is Corporate Life Show with Mark Aiden. I remain your host, and tonight my guest in the studio with me right now, is discussing this topic with me, and he has been doing so well. Explaining these things to us, and Mr. Babajide will be helping us further as we go on in the conversation. Thank you very much, Mr. Babajide, and I hope we can continue with the conversation. Please, audience, if you have any question as we go on and on in the conversation, please drop your comment, your opinion, your suggestions are all welcome, and it will be displayed on the screen so that we can bring up your opinion to the head. So thank you very much. Quickly, let's move on to the next question because of our time. And the next question to us is telling us in what ways can individual business strategically position themselves to mitigate and manage the challenges posed by a rising dollar rate.
All right. So thank you very much for that question. When I saw the question, I was like, let me even throw it to you. That what do you think individuals can do? Imagine yourself as a citizen. What do you think you can do? Like, you are just one out of about 200 million Nigerians. What do you think you can do? So I feel that, when it comes to FX issue, the government and the corporate bodies, they have a lot to do compared to individuals. However, we all have our own contribution to this. So as an individual, this is what I feel that we can do. First of all, we can engage in our local production, like that your little farming, that your small farm behind your compound or thereabout. You can cultivate something, contribute to national economy. So with this, it reduces the burden on the amount of commodities that we import from other countries. So as an individual, I believe this is what we can do. Also, as an individual, we should try and reduce our taste for imported and luxurious products. I'm not saying that you should not spend your money before you want it, but okay, imagine I have 100 million naira and I want to buy a luxurious SUV. Rather than importing what's it called, Toyota from Japan, why not buy it from North? Why not buy it from So with that, I'm contributing to the economy. Do you get? So, and that's the reason I had a personal issue with our leaders importing luxurious cars into Nigeria, something that could be assembled in Nigeria. So it's a big disaster. So I feel that as an individual, this is something that I feel that we can do to contribute to national development. Also, as corporate body, what can be done? Corporate body can also take a piece of what individuals are doing, but in addition, and to also cap it as well, corporate bodies should also try and edge themselves against financial and currency risk. There's something we call edging in risk management or in financial management. It's just a way of you reducing your exposure, to shocks in the market. Like for instance, you can enter into a forward contract, or you do some kind of like renegotiations or thereabout, because There are some companies that has entered into some, business deals whereby like the terms of the deal states that the FX like maybe like the nature of the deal rather is in FX, like is in maybe like the US dollars or in pounds or thereabouts. Imagine you borrowed $100,000 when $1 was around 300 naira, and today $1 is around 800 naira. So that's a loss to you. Honestly, that's a lot to the debtor. So they should also try and engage themselves in some hedging agreements, with people that they are borrowing money, and also engage themselves in some of renegotiation. Maybe they've already borrowed the money and they're already in the mess. You can engage yourself in some forms of, renegotiate rather, crumbling your business or make it crumble or make it die in the short term or thereabout. So that is my advice. And also, corporate bodies should try and make use of local produce. Make use of
Mm.
local produce. You don't have to import everything. Do you get? I
Yeah.
think the CEO of Bua was saying something that they did a kind of like cost reduction some couple of weeks ago, or about a month ago, and the CEO of Bua, that's Mr. Rabi, he said something that the reason why they could do this is because they are cutting costs, and they're also trying to, and they've been able to reduce, or they've been able to increase the amount of local produce that they are using in the manufacturing of cement. Same thing with Nord. The CEO of Nord, Oluwatobi Ajayi, I follow him so well on Twitter. He was also telling me, like he was also he posted on Twitter that they've been able to increase the usage of their local produce. I think about like 40 or 35%. So this quite huge, and in the long run, it will help the economy. It will help the company now as well. So these are my contribution to both individuals and to
Mm.
corporate organizations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Babajide. Thank you. You threw the question back at me, and I was thinking, what response am I going to give to this question? Because it's a technical one, and a specialist like you should be the one handling these questions, not me. But then, I haven't thought about the question. I came up with an idea. I think
Okay.
as individuals, I am representing individuals in Nigeria, we should start thinking of ways to actually generate forex.
Okay.
That's my own input. We should start thinking of individuals start generating forex, and I think that is what is obtainable in China today. You see, almost every household is having something to export to countries in Africa. When do we start exporting goods from made in Africa to African countries and other parts of the world so that we can generate more forex to
Yes.
the nation?
Uh,
And this will boost the economy, I believe so. Even though I'm not a specialist in this aspect, but when
No,
it
no,
comes to
no.
tech,
Yeah. You're saying the truth. Like I agree with you. Absolutely, absolutely. Individuals to like, yeah, for instance, let's come from the perspective of our tech guys. They are here individuals, okay, and the render services to these whites outside the country. They earn FX. It's part
yeah.
of it. Same way too. Produce something as small as possible. Export it out. We gain FX from it. So it's something we can do as an individual. I agree with you absolutely. You are very
All
correct. Yeah.
right, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Babajide. So as we move on and on in the conversation tonight, I still expect more comment from the audience. Thank you very much. For those who are dropping comments, I can still see just few comments here. I think Mr. Ifeanyi has been following us back to back on the conversation, and this is what Mr. Ifeanyi has to say right now concerning the topic we're discussing. Actually, the increase in dollar affects a whole lot of other commodities, but some local products like gari, yam, etc. are also going up. How? Okay, how is the increase? How is increase in dollar responsible for this? Okay, maybe I should allow Mr. Babajide to answer this question because we need clarity. Yes, we need clarity.
All right, all right, all right. It's all good. I understand this question and I understand this perspective. But let me just try to spike it up a little bit. It's simple. All right. So because he believes that Gary and Yam, they are locally made products, right? They are not
Mhm.
imported products. So why are they expensive? Okay, now I'm sure you will agree with me that all of these products, even though they come from the farm, they don't they don't just come out of the land like that. Like you will have to cultivate the land, okay? You put fertilizer, apply chemicals and all of these products, they are imported commodities. So it should definitely have a ripple effect on the price of Gary in the market. on the price of yam in the market. And also, let me bust your bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria imports yam. You can
Mm.
fact check me. Nigeria, I'm not sure about Gary, but Nigeria imports yam. You can fact check me, but Nigeria imports yam. I will tell you that for free. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. As we continue the conversation, we need more questions from more people like Mr. Ifine Ezegwe, who has been joining us in this conversation. And we need more of those questions, more of those opinions, more of those suggestions to come in on the conversation tonight. This is Corporate Live Show with Mark Aiden. We're going on with the conversation, and the next question, please, is coming to you, Mr. Babajide, as we go on and on in the conversation. So, how does an appreciation in dollar, because what we're pushing for is for naira to actually appreciate against the dollar. So now let's ask this question: how does an appreciation in the dollar affect trade, both internally or internationally?
All right. So to restate that question, like how does a devaluation in naira
Mm-hmm.
affect trades?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So we're saying the same thing, but in a different manner. So now, when there's a devaluation in naira, or if there is if the dollar is strong as compared to the naira, what this implies is that it makes importation to be expensive and exportation to be difficult. Okay, like what am I trying to say? Like basic commodities, like let's say Nigeria cannot produce toothpick. For us to import toothpick then becomes so expensive. Just a small commodity that we could produce by ourselves. So
Mm-hmm.
this is one of the disadvantage and the effect of a strong dollar against the naira, both at the local market or at the international market. And like I mentioned earlier, it's also in a way also affect export. It makes exports, to be expensive and discourages people to export their commodities. But if it is the other way around, whereby the naira is strong against the US dollars, it encourages exportation, because the cost of manufacturing things will become much more cheaper. But imagine that, for me to produce, let's say, a lamp, I need to import some commodities. All right. So now with the importation of that commodities, I'm paying. Like my cost of production is in US dollars, meaning that I'm already
Mm.
importing dollars, which will have increased my cost of production. So by the time I'm to export that product back, it becomes so expensive for me to export back. Like I mean, when I mean expensive, the cost of production becomes so high, and I may not be able to make enough profit in exporting it. So it discourages exportation. So these are the effects of a weak or a strong naira in the market. So they all have their advantages and disadvantages. But like I do say, and like I do tell people, a weak naira or a strong naira is not my problem. It depends on what the
Mm.
country wants to achieve. Know have your
Mm.
strategy. See, let me tell you something. There was a time China and Japan, they devalued their currency. We all
Mm-hmm.
know that China and Japan, they are countries that they export a lot. Like that's like the commercial countries in the old world. They manufacture a lot of commodities, a lot of products. So in a way to encourage their export culture, they they intentionally devalued their currency. Though there was a fight between them and the US government then, because there's a way all of these things affect the international market. So it caused some clashes in the market or thereabouts. But my point is that a weak or a strong naira is not the problem. The point is that, are we using it to our advantage? That is my
Mm.
question. Nigeria is
Mm.
not producing anything, and we having a very strong naira is still to our disadvantage, and that is my problem to it. Thank you very
Mm.
much.
Mm. Mm. I'm going to stop here before we move on to the next questions that I have for you, because you just raised some ideas that need better explanation, and I believe with these on this show we should be able to tweet that particular idea for better action from everyone listening to us on the show tonight. You made mention that the state of the naira, the how strong or how weak the naira is not a concern. It should not be a concern for anyone or an individual, but it should be how do we use it to our own advantage. So the question is, um, what you are saying in another sense means that uh, whether the naira is doing well, you can be at advantage, and
Yes.
whether it's doing bad, you can be at an advantage. So
Yes.
explain this. How does this come to play out?
All right, all right. So I would try as much as possible to break it down. It may sound a little bit complex, but I would try as much as possible so that our the audience can also grab it, and which is the goal of the show. Okay, now
Yeah.
it's simple. Um, for it, okay, from the perspective, let's look at it from the perspective of the international markets. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now you are in China, I'm in Nigeria. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
Ifeanyi is from the US, and we both manufacture let's say Gary. Okay, now let's now say Brazil. Someone from Brazil wants to buy, let's say, let me use the name Alalade from Brazil wants to buy Gary. Why should Alalade buy Gary from you? Why not from me? Why not from me? Fine. Now, if it is cheaper for me, if my price is cheaper, like if my own price is cheap, definitely he will want to buy from me. Ceteris paribus, like all other things being equal, he will definitely want to buy from me. But what should make my own price cheaper? If my cost of production, if it is cheap, my price should be cheap. Okay, so in that kind of a way, if my cost of production is cheap, and by essence, I know that I need to import some commodities from other countries. If they are cheap, I will be able to sell at the global market, at the international market, at a very cheaper price. So with this, other countries will be able to buy my product, and I'll be able to, have more grants at the international market. And that is the reason why China products, they are cheap in Nigeria. And that's why everybody will say, oh, Chinese product, Chinese product, Chinese product is cheap, is cheap, is cheap. Why are they cheap? It's because the cost of production are very low over there. And it's as a result of the fact that they make use of local produce, and they also import from neighboring countries whose cost of production are cheap. So that is the way countries could use all of these things to their advantage and to their disadvantages. And a situation whereby the what was it called the FX is also strong. And let's say in a situation whereby we have $1 to 1,200 naira at the black market, it's could be to the advantages of the Nigerian government as well. Only and only if we have a manufacturing habit. Now we can get more dollar, or let me say we can get more naira when after converting the US dollars to naira. Because if we increase our exports, it gives us access to sell more, and by the time we convert it, we'll have more naira and there'll be more money in the economy. But the sad part is that Nigeria is not manufacturing. We don't manufacture. We import to consume. We don't import we don't import to export. We import to consume, and which is a very, very bad habit. And just to also mention another note, importation is not bad. Imports is not bad. Now you can import a camera, a standard camera with, let's say, a camera of about 50 million naira or $50 million. And if you could use that camera to shoot a Netflix standard movie, which could be put on Netflix. You putting movies on Netflix is a form of export, because other guys in other countries, they'll watch it and they will pay. Okay, so it's a way of you importing for export purposes. But Nigeria, look at all the SUV that we imported. What for? Nothing. So that's the
Sure.
problem. That's the problem.
For sure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The show is becoming interesting, and I can bet with you that the show is going to get interesting, more interesting, much more interesting. I know Mr. Ifeanyi is with us back to back on this conversation, and he's dropping his question. Let me bring up his question again. I know we are out of time. We may not be able to deal with most of the questions, but then we'll try as much as possible to deal with as many that we can. This is coming from Mr. Ifeanyi. Thank you very much, Mr. Ifeanyi. Thank you. He's saying, thank you for your answer to my first question. My second question is this: how can I generate forest if I am not a producer? What can I engage in? Let me leave that to you. Let me allow you to answer that question.
It's a very simple question. It's not a rocket science. You may
Yeah.
not be producing, but you must offer something.
Mm-hmm.
Just like if you don't work, how can you get salary? How can you earn a living? It's
Mm.
impossible. So you have to do something. Either a produce or you render service to guys that are outside the country. It's as simple as that. You have to do something.
Yeah.
Nothing is free.
Thank you.
You have to do something to get something.
Thank you very much. And let me add to these for Mr. Ifine, please. No matter the line of a profession you may find yourself, you can do remote job. We now have remote job offers that allows you to stay in Nigeria and work and earn in foreign currencies. That's another option. And then we have those people that are involved in one or two what's it called, drop shipping business. I don't know much about this, but maybe one of these days we'll bring that discussion on the shows. We'll invite someone to discuss more on that particular area of business that allow you to earn in forex. And I think another one is Upworks and the likes, where you exchange your skills for what, for a token in dollars, and the amount you can imagine that people are earning on that platform is a lot more. So a lot more exchange of services. Just go on the Google and search remote works that relate to your area of interest. So thank you very much. Quickly riding on to the next question, and this question is going to Mr. Babatunde. What role does inflation play in the context of a rising dollar, and how can individuals protect their purchasing power during such periods?
All right. Thank you very much. You know, I have a comment on when it comes to inflation. I tell people that inflation is like a cancer. It
Uh,
eats your earnings.
hmm,
Inflation is like a cancer. It eats your earnings, and and that's the reason why I can remember when I was in secondary school or when I was in primary school. Then whenever I'm going to school, can just give me 20 naira, 30 naira, 15 naira, and I'm fine. I'll be
mhm,
okay for the whole day. And I could remember even then in secondary school, we will spend 200 naira at the dining like you're a big boy. With
hmm,
15 naira, 17 naira, people are full at the dining then in school. But look
mhm.
at it now. If I take 2,000 naira to the place, I can't be full. It's impossible. Do you get? At least if you want to have a
You
nice
have a
meal in
fight.
at least like minimum of 5,000 naira. I'm okay, maybe on the street of Lagos that I am. Minimum of 5,000 before you can get something decent and something nice for yourself. Okay, so this is the power of inflation, and the fact is that inflation erodes naira faster. Sorry, inflation erodes naira faster than it erodes dollar due to the fact that dollar appreciates against the naira in Nigeria. Like I mean, in the context of Nigeria. So in that kind of a case, someone who is earning dollar is already edging itself not only against FX issue but also against inflation. Also against inflation. So in that kind of a way, I will also say how individuals can protect themselves against their purchasing power. I don't always like to give this advice because in the long run, it won't help the country. If I tell you to start buying dollars, hold dollars, don't hold naira. It kills the economy. People don't know this. It kills the economy. You are holding
Hmm,
dollar. Why are you holding dollar? You're not using dollar to trade. You are holding it. Leave dollar for people that wants to trade. You are
hmm,
killing the economy. And I can tell you, one of the things that is driving FX issue in Nigeria is as a result of speculation. Oh, I can tell you by the end of January, sorry, by the end of December, $1 will be equals to 2,000 naira, and because of that, everybody is keeping dollar, and we don't allow people that really need this dollar to keep it, like to make use of it to trade. A
mhm,
lot of they are buried, like a lot of people bury dollars inside their house. This is bad.
hmm,
So I won't like to give that advice as regard. Okay, what do you think? Maybe like you can do to edge yourself or thereabouts. What I would say is that like if you are doing business, engage yourself into edging future contracts. Okay, and if you are not, get yourself into business, export services, render services using Upwork, Fiverr, do drop shipping, and US dollars. With this, you are edging yourself against devaluation of naira. Because with that, you can have a domiciliary account, keep the money for some while. But we holding dollar without using it for anything is that's not patriotism. It destroys the country. and I won't encourage us to continue with that habit. So that is my opinion as regard that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We continue and we go on the conversation. The next question for Mr. Babatunde, Babajide, sorry, pardon me. And the next question is going to you. And what implication does a high dollar rate have on investment portion? I mean, portfolios. And what strategies can investors this time around, uh, adopt to navigate this environment?
All right. So first off, let's talk about let's talk about the implications, and I'll give us a very practical example. Coupled with the fact that I'm a financial analyst, I'm a financial market analyst, I'm also a consultant. And just to also put this here, by the way, I love to put this disclaimer everywhere. Opinions that I give on live session, they're not a representation of my related organizations or employer or what have you. They are mine, and I hold on to them 100%. Okay, so now as a consultant, I've seen cases, I've seen scenarios whereby corporate organizations or like foreign investors investing into Nigeria. Let's say by the time they came into Nigeria, with $100 million. If you come into Nigeria with $100 million, you can't put this whole of $100 million. You can't use it to trade in Nigeria. Only naira is a legal tender in Nigeria. You have to convert it to naira, okay, through either CBN or commercial bank, and obtain a document called certificate of capital importation. That's CCI. Okay, now let's say you brought in $100 and you converted it to naira. Let's say you converted it to when the exchange rate was at let's say 400 naira. Okay, so now let's say that was in 2018, for instance, just for instance. Now today, you are to let's say when you converted it to naira, when you converted $100 million to naira at the rate of 400 naira, let's say it gives 4 billion. No, should that be 4 billion or 40 billion or thereabout? Sorry, pardon my numbers or thereabout. So let's say it gives you 4 billion and you invested at 4 billion. Now in 2023, you have to dispose those investments. Okay, and you have to sell it. Let's say it has appreciated to, let's say 10 billion naira. Now this 10 billion naira compared to 4 billion naira initial investment, you may want to say you've made a profit of 6 billion naira. It may not be so in essence, because by the time you want to convert this 10 billion back to dollars, due to the devaluation, because currently $1 is around 1,000 naira. If you have to convert it back, you may be having like let's say 900, or let's say approximately 100 another let's say you'll be having like about another 10 billion naira. So in this sense, what am I trying to say? Though in real time you might have made profit on your investment, but due to the devaluation of naira, by the time you are converting back to US dollars today, you will see that you're actually making a loss. So these are the issues that investors are having in Nigeria. However, if it is the other way around, let's say you put money outside of Nigeria, let's say you buy stock in the US when naira was around 150, let's say in the year 2014, 2011. So, and you buy some kinds of dollar and some kind of stock from New York Stock Exchange market when it was 150. And let's even say as at then, one stock then was, let's say Tesla stock, let's say one stock then was around $1. Now today, let's say one Tesla stock is just around $2. However, $2 today should be around 2,000 naira. So meaning that with that alone, apart from the fact that your stock only appreciated by $1, the fact that there's devaluation in the fact that there's devaluation in naira, you've made a lot of profit. Although let us even make it complicated. Let's say the stock was $1 in 2011 and it's still $1 today. Okay, in real sense, there's no profit because it's still $1. But the thing is that due to devaluation, there's enough profit for you to make. So these are the impact of devaluation. These are the impact of changes in FX on investment decision for shareholders. And that's the reason why we could see that many investors, they are leaving the offshores of Nigeria. Investors like we've seen GSK UK exiting the offshore of Nigeria. Why? because there's no liquidity in the market and they see that by the time they convert their profits back to FX, they see that they are making losses and all. And in accounting context, this is what we call FX losses and FX gains. FX losses and FX gains. So a lot of investors out there, they are having issue of FX losses in their financials and all. So that is my take on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate your response to that question. And quickly, because of our time, question number six for us on the show tonight, we will need to be very fast with the question so that we can meet up with time. How do central bank let me come back to that question. How does central bank typically respond to the rising dollars and potential consequences of this uh,
Hello. Hello. Yeah, the network seems to be breaking. I don't know if it's from my end or what. It seems to be breaking up, skipping.
okay, you can just go ahead.
Can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me? All right. Let me go ahead. Hopefully, we'll fix that glitches. Okay. So now, what is the responsibility of the CBN as regards devaluation and all and FX issue? What can the CBN do? How can they respond to this issue? Okay, so basically, there's something like in the financial market generally, and if you could read when I started my conversation, I was saying something about the CBN reserves. What we have at our reserves currently which is around 33 billion US dollars. Okay, so basically, one of the responsibilities of the CBN is to defend the naira and ensure that there's no devaluation in the market. Okay, so and one of the ways in which they can do this is through monetary policy tools with interest rates and inflation. So with this, they can use it to influence people's spendings on some commodities. Also, there are some fiscal tools as well, such as maybe like taxation. So the governments can decide to tax some commodities just to increase, just to encourage or discourage the consumption of some commodities in the country. Okay, and also the CBN can also defend the currency by taking from the reserve by disposing it into the economy. So with this, there will be more dollars in circulation. There'll be more dollars in circulation, and people will have access to more dollars. So with this, it will bridge the demand and supply gap. So these are some of the things that the CBN can do. The CBN can actually do a lot in fixing this, but this is just one of the many, or these are just few of the many things that the CBN can actually do in fixing and bridging this gap. All right, so I hope I'm able to answer that question very well. I don't know if our host is still here. I think we're having some technical glitches. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you now. I guess you've been speaking. I can hear you now.
Yes,
Can you
yes,
hear me?
yes, yes, I've been speaking. Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. You're
All
welcome.
right. Thank you very much. Quickly, because of our time, I believe you've answered that question number five.
Yes.
We now need to move on with the speed of light so that we can meet up with time. I hope we can still do that. Because of our time, let's just quickly move to the next question, which is question number seven. The question number seven here is saying, in what ways can a government policies influence the resilience of a of an economy in the face of a rising dollar?
What ways?
Mm-hmm.
Let's start. Let me even start with, is Nigerian government even being resilient? Are they being patriotic, in their policies to ensure that we have a very strong naira, or to protect the naira? That's the question. And see, the answer is not far. The answer is not far. It's obvious. It's obvious. I know this is a public space, and I won't want to say some things, but I believe that the government can do enough. We don't have FX and we are buying yacht. We don't have FX and we're buying yacht. Is that what we need? And I was telling something that the fact that GSK left the offshore Nigeria, it pained my bone, because I use GSK product a lot. I use GSK product a lot, and I have some of my guys that works with GSK. So GSK leaving Nigeria is something that pains me and something that affects me a lot. So if there is no, and trust me, this summary, the reason why GSK left Nigeria was because there is no FX. That's the reason why. Now there's no FX for GSK. However, we have FX for some kind of travelings. We have FX for some kind of like spendings. And I do say it, Nigeria does not have a revenue problem. Nigeria have a spending problem. We spend on things that are not worthwhile. We don't prioritize our spendings. Let me put it that way. We don't prioritize our spendings in Nigeria, both the Nigerian government and as individuals. So now, what ways, back to the questions, what ways can government policies influence the resilience of an economy in the face of a rising dollar? One of them is that one of the ways in which the government policies can influence all of this thing is that the government themselves, in their action, they should watch their action, because there's a popular saying that action speaks louder than voice. Okay, you can't be coming, you can't come to the news and be saying that, oh, we want a strong naira, we want this, we want that, we want this, and they are selling our oil. You're saying that you want this, you want that, and you are traveling, going on some trips that are not, in quotes, not what we really need.
Mm.
So to me, that's the best way. See, Nigeria have one of the best policies in the whole world. But the question is that, do we keep to those policies? No. No, we have a lot of taxes, like a lot of laws as regard of taxes and everything. The question is that, do we collect all of these taxes? Are they well remitted? Like implementation, in terms of implementation, Nigeria, or let me say Africa generally, we are very poor at implementation. Nigeria, we call ourselves the giants of Africa. Go to South Africa there, look at what South Africa is doing. Let's compare ourselves with our fellow African countries in terms of policies, in terms of implementations. So to me, I feel that it's beyond policies. We need to see action. We need to see the patriotism in their actions, in their doing, in their attitudes. So this is my opinion, and this is my take on this question. Thank you very much. Hello, are you with me? Okay, I think to save our time. Hello, can you hear me? I think we're having some network, some glitches. Oh my god. Apologies to everyone, please, for the little delay. I think we're having some technical glitch. Will you fix that soon? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Please, can you hear me, please? Please
Yes,
confirm if you can see me.
I can hear you now, loud and clear.
All right, pardon me. I have been having some network glitches here.
So
So let's continue. I heard you when you responded to that question, but it's been throwing me out, and I've been struggling to come in back to the studio. So thank you very much, Mr. Babajide. Let's continue with the conversation. And the next question is, of course, in question number 7, in what ways can the government policy? I think that's the question we just treated. And so let's move on to the next question.
All right.
Let's move on to the next question quickly because of our time. I hope we're able to survive the questions with the limited time we have left for this conversation. Very fast, Mr. Babajide. How can individuals uh, optimize their financial planning and their investment decision to not only survive, because that's what we do here in the part of the world, survive, but thrive in an environment characterized by an increasing dollar rate?
Hmm. All right. As regard, thank you for that question. And I will start on the note that
I would like you
uh,
to take 1 minute to just answer that question because of our time.
okay, that's fine. I will try. First of all, ensure that anything you want to invest into, or even in your planning, ensure you have an understanding of the market you are
Mhm.
going into. I think that's very fundamental. Else, you may end up losing your capital and not even
Mm.
getting any return. So in my own opinion, that is what you can do. So now, how can individuals optimize their financial planning and investment decision? Basically, just ensure that you have some investments in commodities, in dollars, and in naira. That is the best thing. You can buy mutual funds like Nigerian mutual funds. You can buy some Nigerian stocks or thereabouts. Buy some US stocks as well using apps like Bamboo, Truth, and the likes. And also, you can buy commodities like gold, like wheat or thereabouts. So, in short, that's our best wedge against um, fluctuation in FX in a country like Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Before we move on, let's just quickly move on to the next question. Before we get to the audience questions of you, the next question is question number 9. What role does geological stability? I mean, geographical stability, geopolitical stability, or instability play in influencing the trajectory of the dollar rate, and how can businesses, especially small businesses, adapt to such uncertainties?
All right. So as regard the impact of geopolitical zones and instability and instability in all of these zones, how they can have an effect on FX. First off, I want us to see Nigeria as one. Like that is very key. We as Nigerians, we are one. There's no north, no south, no east, no west. We are one. But as a matter of landmass, that's the reason why we belong to where we belong to. So what can we do? One thing I love about Nigeria is the biodiversity. I'm from the southwest. Okay, so in the southwest we have some unique product. Like God blessed us with some unique product that we could export. In terms of like things like southwest have some oil, though not as much as south. Southwest also have some farming or thereabout, and majorly commercial, like especially exported services. When we go to the north dwells majorly in farming, and when we go to the south, we have oil in the south. So collectively, we can do something. Okay, we can look for a way to develop all of these produce and export them. So let us come together in synergy, and just to also use this opportunity to also reiterate: we splitting as a country is not a solution, is not an option. We should come together, bring the resources that we have together. Like this is the part. This is the power of synergy, whereby 2 plus 2 should be equals to 10, not even equals to 5. So let us come together, put our resources together, put our brains together, and see what we can bring out of it. So this, to my own understanding, I like, to the best of my knowledge, I believe that geopolitical zones or zonings in Nigeria could like will have positive effect on the economy if we decide to come together and decide to be one. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's come together. Let's join forces together. Let's stay together and let's stop the division. Thank you very much, Mr. Babajide. And let me quickly move on to the last question. I hope time will not kick us out of the studio. How does the relationship between the dollar rate and the commodity prices impact industries really reliant on new materials, and what steps can can companies take to what safeguard their supply chains?
Hmm. Thank you very much. And I think I love the note in which we everyone ended the show, because we are talking about something that's passionate, because people that follows me very well on my social media and those, I don't joke with consumer. I don't joke with with the consumer industry, with the companies in the consumer industry. I don't joke with them, because I believe and I understand their impact in the economy and how important they are. And if you notice, I've mentioned GSK a lot of time, I've mentioned Nestle a lot of time on this show, and other companies include like Dangote and the likes and all. So these are companies that depend a lot on raw materials, and they import a lot of their raw materials. So to me, I believe that there is a strong relationship. If FX is expensive, if it is very hard to get dollars, if there is devaluation in naira, it will have an effect on the cost of production of these guys, and by effect, it will make the prices of commodities, to be expensive in Nigeria. Do you understand? Even in Nigeria, and even make it too hard for them to export it outside of Nigeria. So it is something very, very, very important. And because of this alone, the government needs to watch it, and also to also enable all of these companies to be able to compete at the international market. Because if their cost of production, if it is expensive, meaning that the price in which they want to sell their products at the international market will also be high. And with this, they will have countries bidding for their products. So it is important that we watch this, and the government look for a better way, a better approach to manage this. And I will be so glad if we have a very strong naira, we have a very strong currency, and also just another way to also use this opportunity to reach out to stakeholders in terms of like the CBN governor, the president, and other major stakeholders that have influence over FX issues in Nigeria. They should please look into this and work actively on this, and please help us protect our local industries. They should help us protect our local industries. Thank you very much. Hello, are you with me? Hello.
Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, loud and clear. Can you please?
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I so much appreciate your time on the show tonight. It's been an enlightening one. It's been a conversation to be candid. We are so grateful for having you on the show tonight. Please, any last word to our audience as we wrap up the conversation tonight?
Okay, to the audience, I want to appreciate everyone for joining the show, for the questions, for the contributions. I so much appreciate everyone. Most importantly, my charge to us is that as Nigeria, let us continue to be patriotic. Nigeria will be better. Like, I'm not just telling you this to motivate you. I'm not telling you this to make you feel what's it called of thereabout. I tell people a lot, I tell people a lot that if I'm to leave this country, like if I'm to say, okay, because of the way the country is, I want to leave the country, I will have done that. Like I will have done that honestly. But the fact that I really know what I want, and I'm not scared, and I have so much belief in this country. And also because of that, I want us to be in the same spirit and be positive that Nigeria will be great. Nigeria will be great. You see those people that left us in the name of Japa, they will come back and meet us very strong. I'm telling you, trust me, Nigeria will be better. Just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. I can tell you that one for free. So thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I so much appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So glad that finally we can do this. We're able to do this tonight successfully. Thanks to to all the support from the team members at the Corporate Life Studio. Thank you very much, everyone, for doing this with us tonight. It's been a wonderful conversation, and I'm sure we've all enjoyed the best from the guest night, and we hope to do much more better next time. We'll come to you on the show, and tonight is a good weekend for us all. So enjoy your weekend as we leave you all out there to go right now. So thank you very much, Mr. Babajide, and
Thank you
we
very
hope
much.
to see you next time when we invite you to discuss more on economics as it affects all of us as professionals. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night to you, everyone. For me, it's gonna be a lovely weekend from here in the studio to you guys out there. So have a great night, and we say bye bye for now. Bye bye to everyone.